Ladies and gentlemen, live Saturday, UFC 309. Obviously, Ballin' and Brawlin's back. I usually mention that. But secondly, first and foremost, actually, I just want to say the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the best fighter in the sports history returns on Saturday. Johnny Bones Jones looks to, again, just show people like Hebs who don't understand the run he's had, the career he's had, just what the legacy he's leaving this sport with. You know, as we know, he is going to be leaving this sport after. But look, UFC 309 from Madison Square Garden. I can't be more excited for a fight. Hebs, just to start off, give me a grading on this card. You know,
Card sucks. You know, card is terrible. It's probably on paper. So I was trying to think. I was actually little video idea going through trying to rank the cards from this year, and on paper, Anthony Smith, right? I don't think other 301 was terrible, but 299 and 300 were like probably the two best back-to-back cards I've ever seen. Two of the best cards of all time. So like 301 was terrible. That was Pantoja versus Ursig. But it ended up pretty good. Like on paper, it was bad, but like the fights were entertaining. It was the same, like the Sphere on paper wasn't great, but like some of the fights ended up being awesome. So like that's the trade-off. I hope that's what happens here. As you mentioned, you can't get like Olivera versus Chandler as a co-main is like as big as it gets. I forget who's the main event, but I haven't been following UFC that long. I don't know either of those cats, a little before my time maybe. But other than that, like what the actual fuck are we doing, dude? What an embarrassment. Have you looked at like what the MSG card, it used to mean something. It's every November since it got legalized or sanctioned, whatever, in New York City, the world's most famous arena, the best city in the world. That shit used to mean something. And ever since a year ago when Jon Jones terrorized the card with his fucking body that's held together by steroids and freaking bad intentions, he ruins that card. That was the rise of Alex Pereira. And now all of a sudden, a year later, Dana thinks he can get away with putting these two old men, my drunk uncles at the barbecue. I'm fucking all over the place already. The fact that he can just throw these guys on the card and call it a day is insane. Also, while we were just sitting down to start talking about it, I had my whole breakdown. A friend of the program, one of my favorite fighters in the world, Eric Anders. Did they just why do they change the layout of the card like days before? They always do that, and it doesn't make any sense to me, especially like it's not like it whatever. It makes no fucking sense. This card sucks. It's an embarrassment, but I can't wait to see the boos coming from all the very smart men in the tri-state area booing Jon Jones out of the arena. That's going to be his last, like the last memory of him as a UFC fighter will be him getting booed out of the world's most famous arena. So that actually gets me back excited. I'm back into it. I take back everything I said.
Dude, like you said, pointing back to like the card not being as strong, I will say I feel like that's Dana and the UFC's like MO when it comes to like some of the bigger stars. Like you see Conor headlining a card, it's usually not stacked at all. You see Adesanya, like and again, some of the Adesanya cards, he's obviously fought a lot, so he's had some cards that are obviously good. But for the most part, some of these guys like Jon Jones, Adesanya, Conor, when these guys headline a pay-per-view, I feel like they try to. And again, I'm not complaining about the card, but they do try to like. The first two fights or three fights of the card usually aren't as strong as some of these other cards. So,
but does Jon sell like that? He does.
He sells enough. Like he probably sell. I would say Jon sells like in the Adesanya range of, you know what I mean, that type of range. I would say maybe depending on who he's fighting, maybe a little less, but I would say he sells around that.
Yeah, well, that's what I said in like the video I put out last week. That like I can't believe this. It's crazy actually now, like seeing the poster and it being so close. Like you kind of just didn't think that this was going to happen for like the longest time, or like you knew it was eventually, but like it did seem like this, like, you know, this imaginary thing we were talking about, like the Aspinall discussion has really taken over in this past year. Which again, I'm kind of just glad. And now, as you know, we know that these are two guys are going to fight. That Aspinall is not getting the shot. Now we can just focus on being annoyed because they both suck, as opposed
We
to
can focus on the two legends, not the guy that wants to be where these guys are.
Yeah,
Focus on
give him a
the
chance.
two.
Give him a
Focus on
chance, dude.
focus on the two legends. They don't
Um,
give them. They give them. You just said before we started this that nobody. You're not giving anything. All right. The guy.
yeah, I
Listen,
did say
Tom,
that. It was a good
Tom,
line.
rightfully so. Tom, rightfully so. When these guys are done, if they want to vacate, rightfully so. Tom, can fight for the belt, be the champ, whatever.
Got the belt.
But
yeah.
again, we're gonna show respect to two of the greatest, the greatest heavyweight and the greatest fighter of all time. If this fight doesn't excite you, I don't care if they're fucking 50. To be honest with you, if this fight doesn't excite you, you're not a true fan of the sport. It doesn't. You won't admit it. I know you, but this fight does excite you. I know you will be excited to watch it.
Yeah,
all right,
I'm super excited to watch it. I never said I wasn't, dude.
And listen, you never know. We might get a little John Jones Aspinall. We might get a little Stipe Aspinall. You never know. The money talks, all right? Money talks. That's all I'm gonna say, all right?
John's got like $700K in the bank from his fucking 20 years of fighting. That guy doesn't need money. There's no amount that's gonna drag that guy into camp for Tom Aspinall.
No, John DC said when John fought him like the first or second time, John made like $5 million alone in that fight. So
no way.
No, dude. John's made plenty of money, bro. Bro, you got it, bro. When he was in his heyday, he was the first ever athlete sponsored by Nike, Gatorade. Like, bro, I'm telling you.
Where do you think do you know how much fucking lawyers cost, dude? Do you know how much
he's lived in the same house in New Mexico his whole time. I'm sure it's paid off.
Yeah, he's on house arrest. Like, he can't leave. He tried to go. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Getting into the main card.
He's got that situation. He's not allowed to leave. It's a much smaller radius. He can't leave his fucking house.
I love my dear friend Hebs here, but the John Jones hate is just it sickens me. That he doesn't.
I didn't hate him. This is fact.
He doesn't respect the biggest legend in the sport. It's sad to me, but hey, you can't change people's mind. All right, so let's get into this card. All right, starting off the main card, we head to the lightweight division with Mauricio Ruffy taking on James. Don't want to mess up the last name. Have no idea. Llontop, if that's how you say it. All right, Mauricio Ruffy is what I would call a finisher. He comes from the Fighty Nerd camp. We obviously know they're kind of on a run right now. They got this momentum. Kyle Barajo, what's his name, who just won?
Prates just fought.
Prates just won by knockout against Neil Magny. They got the boys rolling. They clearly got the sauce rolling over there in Viva Brazil. It's clear as day. Make no mistake about it. This one's not hard to break down. They're putting this guy on the card. Get a little excitement going into the night. First round stoppage, Mauricio Ruffy. Hebs, give me your take on this one.
Yeah. So I was complaining, obviously, again, shout out to Anders, but they had to have, or I could be mistaken, maybe this happened before, but I would assume just after Prates, this Fighting Nerds thing just seems to just keep getting more gasoline on the fire, or whatever the saying is. Like, bro, they are exploding. And with Barajo, however many months ago that was when he knocked out Cannonier, it started to get some real legs. Prates, when he knocked out the Leech, and now what he did to Neil Magny, holy smokes. And they all just seem like cool dudes, bro. Like, it's all
it's weird. They also all seem like there's zero body fat and just straight muscle coming out of it. It's really weird,
Some professional athletes, they fucking, take this shit serious, dude. They're not out doing who knows what on a Saturday night,
like a little John Jones, you're saying?
Yeah. Actually, I say that when Prates is like a noted cigarette smoker and fucking always drinking, and they just seem cool. I feel like, so I didn't really. This guy's probably like the least known, or obviously, like I mentioned, Prates, Barajo, Silva are all kind of blowing up right now. Good chance to get a guy like this. On a huge stage at the Garden, main event or main card of a John Jones card. So he's 10-1 with all knockouts, even his loss. So he's going to come to bang. He's like a minus
True
700 favorite. Yeah, I mean that's what we love, right? So if he comes out, gets a first round knockout, or even any knockout in impressive fashion, I mean that's just going to keep these fighting nerds, man. I love it. So yeah, easy knockout for him. But it is weird. I think Weidman a little disrespect. I mean, not that Chris Weidman really deserves any respect after the double eye poke knockout. So no, he does. No, I'm joking, but like, well, I'm saying I was just advocating for him being on the main card.
No,
It
but
doesn't make any
Vivian
sense.
Arajo and Karine Silva, like, why are we not giving Chris Weidman this platform? You know, every fight could be Weidman's last fight. Let's show a little bit of respect here, Dana. Just a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's a little bit frustrating. I mean,
Like the
I'm assuming
UFC,
he's
I
going
don't
to
know.
retire. Imagine retiring after. I'm assuming it's going to be an ugly war with
Well,
Anders.
didn't
It's
they
going to
make
be a.
they made Robbie Lawler retire on the prelims, didn't they? Didn't he
Yeah,
knock?
when he
Was it? Did he
Nico
knock out Nico
Nico
Price on the
Price
prelims?
was that on the prelims? I don't know.
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. It's despicable if we're being honest, but it is what it is. I mean, that's Dana being Dana. Moving on. Speaking of despicable, I mean, freaking line them up. Bo Nickal is still doing like main card. Like, can you explain the Bo Nickal stuff to me? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It seems everyone's comparing it to the Sean O'Malley, kind of just being forced in our face. Hey, buddy, like that is how you get hate. Like Sean O'Malley was hated for a while until it turned out like, oh shit, he's like actually super legit. Like he's one of the best strikers in the UFC. He's championship level. Like that's what ends up, people flip on you. But like Bo Nickal is not that type of guy. He's like watching paint dry. I don't know if you see clips of this guy talking. Holy smokes, dude. You're not welcome on the cast at any time. That guy is brutal. And he's also a wrestler. So, like, even if he is championship level, it's going to be by, like, taking people down. So, this just feels very forced. He was on the main card at UFC 300. That still pisses me off. And now he's on the main card at MSG. So, I mean, yeah, is he going to beat Paul Craig? Yeah, I would hope so. But I don't know. This just feels like a very forced, star thing, which I don't like.
Bro, what do you mean he's a grappler? He KO'd Val Woodburn, the guy who's doing lawn, like, and I'm not even trying to be like funny, like he actually does. I'm pretty sure he does lawn, like in the and then fights.
Dude, you want me to come down? He's literally mowing my lawn right now. I'll come get him down.
Look, the guy. No, we're all kidding. We know how this goes.
Val. We love Val.
The UFC is clearly pushing this guy. They clearly either think that he has the potential to be some superstar, or they want him to be some guy that they can sell in the future. But the hype is there as far as the media and the fans. When you walk around and talk to people about oh yeah, that's the big time national champion wrestler from Penn State. Like, dude, you watch his last fight, it's like, bro, the guy's got a lot to work on before he becomes anything good. And he talks as if he's Khamzat Chimaev. Really, that's how he talks and he acts. And it's like, bro, your last fight showed, and the matchmaking shows that you're clearly not ready, because when Khamzat was fighting, after about a couple of fights, they go, hey, let's throw you in there with Gilbert Burns, the number 2 guy in the division. Whereas you're the fight before a co-main at MSG and you're fighting Paul Craig as a minus 1,000 favorite. I mean, it's kind of a joke. The UFC continues to do this. Eventually, the fans need to speak up and address this with Dana. Let's see Bo Nickal in there with somebody that can at least,
So he goes out and he wins. What do you want to see next for Bo Nickal? In impressive fashion.
Middleweight, give me Jack Hermanson. Hermanson might get this guy out of there in 2. We don't even know what this guy is capable of.
Hermanson, the king of the fraud check. We saw him do it to Pfeiffer within the last year. I forget when that fight was, but I would love that. Hermanson's got good wrestling. Like, again,
quick shout out to Mr. Hermanson, a fan of the pod, looking to have him on in the future as well.
Exactly. So we're not going to hear any slander here. No, I'm just kidding. But
he's out in Norway. The time difference is very big there. But Mr. Hermanson, we know you're listening. We can accommodate to your time change.
We'll stay up late for you, wake up early for you, whatever we got to do, Mr. Hermanson. But dude, honestly, that is like I said that after 300. I think that was a name we threw out because I was just so sick of Nickal after 300. Like, he didn't look good in that fight. He fought another bum. The fact that I don't think you make more depending on where you are on the card. You definitely don't. But, like, dude, it's definitely, ask these guys if they'd rather fight on the prelims or in the main card of a John Jones. Like, I think we know what the answer would be. So the fact that he's getting these fights is ridiculous. Middleweight has enough. Like, put him against Hermanson, put him against Marvin Vettori, put him against someone that's just like.
Oh, Vettori beats him 100%. I think right now beats him 100%.
Vettori's huge. Like, I can't see him just ragdolling Vettori. The way this guy talks, the way. Dude, he's always calling out like everyone. You said he's no Hamzat. Well, he says he would easily beat Hamzat. The way I remember after Izzy Pereira won at MSG 2 years ago. I was there, not a big deal. But he was talking about like the wrestling exchanges. He's like, dude, it's just embarrassing to watch. Like, to watch these guys. It's like, shut up, bro.
Yeah, those are kickboxers, buddy. Those are kickboxers.
And they would fucking kick your face off too. Like, what are we talking about?
Izzy would get it done. Bo Nickal takes Alex Pereira down fairly easily and gets him out of
Won't matter. Paul Craig by triangle in the second round.
Good.
That's what everyone, dude. That's like the guy. That's like the worst with UFC getting like more mainstream because like that you'll hear people like, "Yo, you got to watch out, dude." Bo Nickal's ground from the off his back, dude, like throwing up submissions. Like, yeah, dude, fucking. I remember my first UFC fight. I don't know what I was going with there, but it's so dumb. It's like,
I'm going out on
Paul Craig stinks. Paul Craig stinks. Oh, he submitted Ankalaev. He submitted Jamal Hill. Like, yeah, there you go.
I'm going out on a limb here. Bo Nickal gets this one done via first round submission, actually.
No, I think he's going to knock it. I think he knows in a fight like this, like, he knows there's no threat. Like, Paul Craig is like the worst striker we've ever seen. So, like, I would not be surprised if Nickal's going to, like, stand up for a while, try to get him out of there on the feet. Which he
I could see Nickal getting the fight going a couple rounds, just like Nickal working on some box seat and shit. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. I see him like just, but I would assume he gets the finish. Moving on. What is the next fight?
We real quick, the women's flyweight, we kind of skipped it, but we, Vivian Araujo taking on Karine Silva. Hebs, please, I'll listen. And this is no disrespect. The fight doesn't really entice me too much.
Yeah.
Look, Silva's the more experienced fighter. I look for her to use her ground game, take this one to the ground, and let's be honest, these women aren't finishing one another. Yeah. Miss Silva via 29-28 decision in this one. Hebs, what do you think?
Vivian Araujo, she fucking rolls as always. Moving on to the main event, the co-main event. Charles do Bronx Olivera makes his return after a loss at UFC 300 to Arman Tsarukyan. He fights the man who has been waiting in the shadows for quite some time. Actually, his last fight was on that Izzy Pereira card that we were just talking about at the Garden 2 years ago, exactly almost, versus Dustin Poirier when he lost, when he tried every cheat in the book, and he still freaking got submitted by Dustin Poirier. Who in the world gets submitted by Dustin Poirier? I don't know.
Max Holloway.
That's a really good point, actually. That was a long time. That might have been Holloway's debut, or it was very early on in his career. But yes, so Michael Chandler, the return. He finally gave up on Red Panty Night, and now he has to fight do Bronx in a rematch from a fight in 21 for the vacant strap after Khabib retired. Super, super exciting fight. Justin, who you got here? Break it down for me.
Yeah, like you said, bro, this is one of the best co-main events of the year, I would say. A guy in Du Bronx who's got major star power and firepower in this sport. Guy's a legend of the sport. The career turnaround that Du Bronx had, I just want to say, is like one of the like more impressive like turnarounds, I would say, like, of anybody. Like, bro, when I was like, when we were in college or even before that, like when this guy was like, dude, this guy was like a soft, like, quitter. Like, it was weird, dude. Like, he had skill. Everyone knew he was skilled, but like, it was like he was this grappler that when things got tough, he was like checked out, and then obviously he comes on to win the belt. We've seen what he's done in the sport since then, but you go over to Michael Chandler, bro. Like you said, he waited 2 years for Red Panty Night. Conor had other plans. He pulls out. We're not going to get into the Conor talk right now, but I don't blame the guy for waiting. As we know, it was a great opportunity for him to make a lot of money, and also I do think that he deep down probably thinks Conor is one of the easier fights for his career right now. So I don't blame the guy for waiting, but look, I respect the guy for moving on and taking a challenge like this in a could be a number one contender fight. We'll see what Dana and the boys say, but look, the first time these guys fought, Charles was just too much for him. I think it almost seemed like he was too big for him. And Chandler didn't use the wrestling like I always when I talked about when these guys don't threaten Charles, like if you aren't seriously threatening him with the takedown and like can put him on his back and keep him there for a while, it's like he just marches forward in your face and he's gonna land that shot at some point. And I feel like, in the first fight, he got Chandler's back in the beginning, and then Chandler reversed it, obviously. But, dude, just a dangerous fight all in all. But I just have a feeling, bro, that things go differently this time. I think Chandler uses the wrestling to his advantage. Dude, you can put Charles Oliveira on his back. It's just, can you keep him there and can you do the damage? Because it can be done. I mean, Arman did it. Islam did it, and I know those are elite grapplers, but bro, if Chandler really, the thing is can Chandler really execute a game plan, or is he going to go out there and get hit early and turn into the same Chandler as always and brawl? I think he knows that this is the kind of, not the final straw, but it's like, if you're going to be a contender and win a belt at this weight class, it's time to fight smart, put the game plan together. I think he does that, and I think Michael Chandler gets Charles Oliveira out of there via second round stoppage.
Yeah, I talk about this fucking every fight that like when you're breaking down a UFC fight, when you're making a prediction, there's just like something else at play. It's not all, you got to throw out the rule book. It's not all about the X's and O's. There are other factors here. I don't know what you want to call it. I mean, it's done us very good in our predictions for this show. So clearly there's something to it, but like, yeah, on paper, I don't know why I think Chandler's going to win, but just this whole saga, these last 2 years, all the hate that this guy has taken, this guy has become he's become a meme. Like, I mean, everyone still likes Chandler, but just with the way he's carried himself, getting the McGregor fight, obviously, everyone was almost rooting for it not to happen, just like because it would have been hilarious for Chandler to take that much time off to not get the fight. And that's exactly what we saw happen. Again, the first fight, it's hard to take that much. Olivera had his back, almost submitted him. Then Chandler gets out. He comes within seconds of knocking him out in that first round. Olivera survives, and then he puts Chandler away very early in that second round. Dude, I think, as you said, regardless, everyone knows the story with Chandler. Oh, he can't stick to a game plan. He's the dumbest fight. He's the best fighter, in the first, 2 minutes of the fight, and then he just becomes uncoachable. He knows that this is it, right? Like, he knows if he loses this fight, and very right, he's fighting Olivera, who's like the former champ, number one guy, a guy who already knocked him out. So,
and it ain't going to decision. So whoever loses this fight is losing via stoppage.
But if he loses, it's over. Like, he still wants the Conor fight. He still would take the Conor McGregor fight over a title fight. And he's hinted at that. I'm telling you that he would. And even so, he thinks it's going to line up perfectly because Arman and Islam will fight in the first quarter of next year, whether it be February or January, probably February. And then Islam will not be able to fight for a while because of his religious holidays. So he's not going to fight for, I don't know, for months. Fucking Chandler wants this fight. He wants to turn around and fight Conor. And then he wants to be next in line to fight Islam Makhachev for the belt. Will all that happen? I doubt it. But he still wants the Conor fight. All that goes away with a loss. So I just don't see it happening. Olivera, again, I did not like the Charles Olivera we saw against Arman Sarukian. It was a close fight. It was super close. Arman won. People saying it was a robbery are out of their minds. But that was not Olivera that went on this run. Even against Dariush.
Because there was the threat of the takedown and somebody who could control him on the ground.
Exactly. Not only was there the threat of the takedown, he got out wrestled and he got outstruck. Like, again, it wasn't like it was a super close fight, but against Dariush, he got taken down immediately and controlled on the ground. He ends up catching him with a head kick, puts him away, and you forget about it. Against Islam, he got kind of dominated, if we're being honest with each other. Yeah, I don't know. I don't I just think Chandler's going to knock him out. Can't you see Chandler, like, after the fight, big knockout, and he does another, like, mic drop. He calls out McGregor. He calls out Islam. He probably is going to call me out. He calls out the haters. He pulled himself up from his bootstraps, all this good stuff. I got Michael Chandler by knockout. But, again, I think it'll probably happen in the first round. Don't really see it getting out of the first, but again, Olivera, I love Olivera. As you mentioned, the Du Bronx era, probably like one of the more fun title reigns, at least in recent memory. One of the great career turnarounds of all time. It's not his time anymore. Michael Chandler is going to get it done, but it'll be a sick fight. And yeah, we'll see what McGregor, we'll see what Daddy McGregor has to say. Clearly, he's going to say, "Oh, we'll fight in 2025." We've been hearing that one for years, so I don't know if it'll actually happen, but it'll be a good fight.
And on to the main event of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest fights of the year, one of the biggest fights in the history of the sport, whether you like it or not, whether you hate on it or not. This is one of the biggest fights in the sport's history. Johnny Bones Jones looks to defend his heavyweight title, along with his legacy in just GOAT status. I mean, make no mistake about it. He win or lose, he is the GOAT. But everything's on the line on Saturday against Stipe Miocic, a dude who is the greatest heavyweight this sport's ever seen. You look at his resume, very impressive. A guy who actually, I believe, would piece up Mr. Aspinall in his prime, and Stipe Miocic. It's
not good for ratings. You sound like a freaking doorknob.
Hebs, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. I know you're very excited for this one. You're a huge fan of both guys. What is your take on the main event of the evening?
So you and I have been speaking about this literally since we started this in April. I don't know how many videos we've done on this exact subject. I put out a couple in the last week just expressing my displeasure with these two legends. Can't believe we actually made it here, but here we are on Fight Week, a couple days out from this dumpster fire that is UFC 309. Glad that the real champ, Tom Aspinall, again in the try. You can almost feel his aura has landed from the UK. That's a real dog. Other than these two guys, I don't know what's going to happen. And as I said in my breakdown, everyone, you're going to hear John Jones domination. You're going to hear, dude, watch out for Stipe. Dude, are we underestimating Stipe? You're going to hear everything. Oh, it's going to be boring. They're both old, yada, yada, yada. Everyone claiming that they know what's happening in this fight is just lying. There's no way to know. Stipe hasn't fought in 3.5 years. John Jones hasn't fought in a year and a half. Before that, it was an over 3-year layoff. We've seen him in his new fat suit at heavyweight for about 2.5 to 3 minutes, and he looked terrible. He submitted the guy in a couple seconds. It was the worst performance in UFC title fight history. I'm not going to take very much from that. Does he look like he's lost a little bit of weight? Maybe he's been sober for 4 days or something. Good for him. Tip the cap. But anyone claiming that they know what's happening in this fight, again, you're just lying. Could you be right? Sure. But there's no way to know. There's no way to look. Know what? I was just watching a breakdown of this fight a week ago. This was before I put out that last video, and I just had to slam my laptop with frustration because the bum, again, I mean, podcasting, YouTube, it's not for everyone. They got to make this stuff a little more expensive. Leave it to the big dogs like you and myself. This guy, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't remember it. And if I did, I wouldn't say it anyway. He was saying that Stipe has a chance. John has struggled against boxers like Alexander Gustafsson. That fight took place in like 2016. We were just talking about sponsorships and stuff. Dude, John Jones has the Nike sign on his ass when he's fighting Gustafsson. I'm not taking much from that fight. That fight was a long time ago. People, Stipe, oh, he did well against the wrestling, against Daniel Cormier, and the 2019 fight, which was 5.5 years ago. Like, dude, the fact that we're pointing to these things, like, I just don't think they carry much weight in 2024. I think John Jones should win. He does look like he's slimmed down. The version of him that showed up to fight Cyril Gane, he was 248.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Fucking, you're making me sick just talking about these bums. All right, so where was I? John Jones, he's going to look a lot better. He looks like he's slimmed down. Maybe he's finally, I guess they say after 5 years of being at a certain weight, you finally like grow into your frame or whatever you want to say. He says he's 235. We'll see, in a couple days when he pops the top off. But again, this line is a little bit crazy. We were just saying a year ago when they were supposed to fight, it was like close. I mean, I think John was minus like 300 or something. It wasn't anything too crazy. So the fact that it's ballooned up to like minus 700 is wild to me. Because again, John's not much younger. John's 37. We have barely seen him. Before Gane, it was January or February of 2020. That was before COVID was a thing, dude. So I don't really know. I really hope Stipe can get it done. But I feel like, when we see them walk out, the first 2 minutes of this fight are going to be super interesting because as of right now, we just don't have much of a sample size to draw from for what these guys are going to look like in the year 2024 at 42 and 37 years of age. Because anyone claiming that they know, I think you're a little bit fucking wild. But Stipe knocks him out in the 3rd round. Come on. Obviously, dude. What a way to fucking finish this thing, man. This just disaster. This whole year of hearing, oh, well, Tom hasn't deserved. Tom. See, I'm not even mentioning what the guy's been, this media tour this past week. If you think that John is being serious right now, again, you need to seek some help. Obviously, the guy is just being a troll. Obviously, the guy is not going to vacate the heavyweight belt to fight Alex Pereira for the BMF belt. Is that people are like, oh, dude, Joan, how could you say this? Dude, he's not being serious. You're an idiot. He's an idiot. We're all idiots. Stipe Miocic, 3rd round knockout. Bing, bing.
Dude, I agree with a lot that you said in that.
I'm a smart guy.
Listen, we really can't say we can't. Anyone who says they know what to expect in this fight, like crazy. You said, it's crazy because, like you said, yeah, John did come in, he beat Cyril, but it was like you said, he was heavy. He did not personally look good to me until he got the fight to the ground, obviously, and handled business. But Before that, it was 3-4 years, whatever. Like you said, it has been a while since we've really seen this guy in like a true competitive fight. And then you go to Stipe. Like, dude, the thing is Stipe's fighting style, I think, like, will still be the same. Like, I don't think the way he fights is like as he's gotten older or whatever. I don't think he's gonna lose how he fights, and I think that plays to his advantage in this one. Obviously, John still hasn't been hit at heavyweight. Like, he hasn't taken a shot at heavyweight. So, dude, this fight is like very like dicey to me. I have no idea. I'm John Jones' biggest fan. I'm a huge fan of Stipe, but I have no idea how John could be minus 700 in this fight. It makes absolutely no sense to me. It almost makes me feel like literally Stipe's like coming in with a torn ACL that's been like Vegas. No, it makes no sense why John's this huge.
I mean, he's 42.
Favorite.
Bro, you think they got eyes on him at the firehouse that he was like sliding down?
Dude, I don't understand how the line could go up this much. That being said, bro, I've watched John Jones his entire career, and the guy, people say he doesn't have the power. Like, you don't get me wrong, he doesn't have devastating power. But the one thing that people, I feel like, not discredit, but kind of like forget about John Jones is he knows how to win fights. And I know that's like, oh, wow, like what a hot take. But, bro, the guy like truly studies game plans and comes in there with, like, he's coming in there with a strategic plan and he's looking to execute it. And that's what he's done his whole career. He's broken guys down, like their weaknesses, like everything. He goes into fights, attacks them a certain way. And I think one last time he'll be able to dial up a plan. Again, I don't know how he's going to take these shots because, dude, Stipe, I don't care if he's 42. The guy can put anyone in the sports lights out. Like, your power ain't going anywhere for a guy who's him.
Power's the last to go. That's what
exactly. So I'm very nervous for this one. I truly, like, when I say this, like, I'm more worried for John Jones in this fight than I would be if he was to fight Alex Pereira. That's how nervous I am for this one for John, truthfully.
Who do you think wins, I'm gonna go Stipe or Pereira?
What'd you say?
Who wins, Stipe or Pereira?
If Stipe wrestles, Stipe wins. If he doesn't wrestle, he gets flatlined probably.
Well, I don't. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he lands on,
I think so. Okay.
I think if Stipe lands on Pereira is out cold.
Okay, so to answer my next,
John takes Pereira down inside 1 minute and wins the fight in 3 to 4 minutes.
You didn't answer the question, but I'll sorry to interrupt. You can go finish your prediction.
But yeah, so the back and forth, I'm gonna go with the GOAT, Johnny Bones Jones, to get this one done via second round TKO. And look, I think it would like. Hey, people! Yes, story. I truthfully do think he's gonna get him down. And as we know, when John gets somebody down, there's ferocious, there's truly like just sickening ground and pound in shit that he does. And he's a dude, like all the stuff we all know. John's obviously crazy. Like, it takes listen for you to be the GOAT of the sport, like. You got to have some wires a little bit, out there, and he does. And
so, I mean, GSP has wires out there, but he thinks that like the frogs are gay. He doesn't, beat up civilians.
Look, I'm going with John Jones to get this one done via second round TKO, retain the title, and I think we see him fight Alex Pereira within 8 months. Let's see what the UFC does. Actually, check that. Dana's going to get mad that he doesn't fight Aspinall, and he's going to take that fight away from John. So John will probably just retire, to be honest with you. But,
dude, trying to put this on Dana is a classic Strenad. Hilarious. What are you talking about?
What did I tell you? What did I tell you was going to happen a year ago? I said that Dana's going to flip the script after this fight.
Yeah,
and he's gonna say that John Jones is scared, just like John Jones.
Yes, you did say that.
Yeah, so then what do you mean putting it on Dana? As soon as John retires and they have to start negotiating, he's going to try and shit talk John Jones and be like, this guy just he don't want no part of this animal and Aspinall, man. Like, You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but you just said Dana's going to take away the Pereira fight, like that.
Yeah, because I think if he doesn't want to fight Aspinall, I think Dana's going to be like, all right, we'll do Aspinall Pereira. We don't need you anymore, type of thing. I think that's what he'll do. It's Dana
First
White.
of all, I think he would be right in saying that. I think Aspinall, obviously it would be a sick fight, but like, saying that Aspinall doesn't deserve a title shot.
No one's saying he doesn't deserve it, but John
Jones is. John Jones is. I'm talking about John Jones. John Jones is saying. John Jones exactly said, that's like word for word what he said.
Dana White's a businessman. John Jones versus Alex Pereira does double the pay-per-view numbers as Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira. That's a fact. That's guaranteed. Like,
okay.
So if you're a businessman, why would you not make that fight?
Dude, but that
doesn't need to be. No one's saying
Muhammad just fought. Who? All right, listen, who would do better numbers? I'm not saying
it needs to be for the heavyweight title. I'm saying John can vacate the title. Aspinall can have it. I'm saying make that fight though. If the fans would want to see that fight big time, like 100%.
All right, you threw like a steakhouse bet. I don't even remember what it was on earlier.
Yeah.
What do you want? If John Jones fights with no belt on the line, what do you want? Because it's not happening. There's literally a 0% chance.
No, I told you I will bet you that.
You know, this fight, the fight that we're talking about this weekend, there shouldn't be any belts. And if there were no belts, no one would complain. I've never seen more complaints about a UFC fight, belts or anything, about any UFC event ever than this fight we're seeing on Saturday. And guess what? If there were no belts on the line, no one would be complaining. I'll take it a step further. Even if there were belts on the line and John and Dana, and they all haven't handled this so bad, so bizarre, I don't even know how to make sense of it, how to string a sentence together with the way these guys are talking. If John, you don't even have to say that Aspinall would probably beat me, that Aspinall is this young guy. You don't even have to say that. If he just said, you know what, no, all due respect to him, his time's coming. You know, I just wanted to give the shot to a legend, Stipe Miocic, the best heavyweight ever.
He did say that.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Man. No, then he goes, no, he didn't. What does he say about Tom, dude? He keeps just hating on Tom for no reason.
Because Tom hates on him. Why would he show Tom respect when Tom doesn't show him respect?
No, what are you talking? Yes, he does. What are you talking about?
No. When you're out there saying, "Oh, this guy owes me. I deserve the fight," bro. It's not like you said. It's not John Jones' job to give it. He even said it. He goes, "It's not my job to give this guy an opportunity to make a name for himself off of me." That's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. He's not saying that he wants to hold the heavyweight title and fucking not fight Tom Aspinall. That's not what he's saying. He's saying he wants to fucking defend the title right here. Because he won the championship against Cyril Gane. Where the fuck was Aspinall then? He won the championship, and then he tears his pec getting ready for his next fight. What do you want him to fucking do? It's stupid that you think he shouldn't have the belt because he tore his pec. Hey, not everyone's Jamal Hill, buddy. This is John Jones. It's not Jamal Hill. When you get a year-ending fucking injury, John Jones doesn't get stripped. He's John fucking Jones. He's not Jamal Hill, all right? There's levels to this shit, and he's at the top, period. End of story.
Oh, mic drop.
Period. End the story.
Epic. End the story. Now, I can't wait for the story to be over so we can move on because it's been a fucking brutal last couple chapters, dude. I skipped the part where he beat up his wife, but you know what I'm saying?
Dude, this is your go-to.
Yeah, because it's hilarious, dude. But
it's actually not hilarious. It's not hilarious at all for our viewers out there. Don't put your hands on women ever.
It's not funny. All right? Sorry. Okay. Last thing, will either man retire in the octagon?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. I think.
Do you want me to ask okay, who? I
think both. I actually think both of them retire just for negotiation purposes. I think both retire.
I think you're nuts. You think John is the type of guy to retire in the octagon?
Yeah, I think John. I think they both retire in the octagon. I do.
Okay, and if they do, are they greeted with booze?
No. If the fans fucking boo either one of these guys, come on, bro. You're not a true fan of the sport if you're booing either one of these guys, bro. Look at the resume on both of these guys. These are two. This is obviously the greatest of all time. Stipe is a top 10 fighter in UFC history, I would say. Like, to boo them regardless of anything is ridiculous to me. Like, you got to show respect to the legends of the sport, and both of these guys are absolute first ballot legends of this sport. No matter what happens, these guys will be remembered through the history of the UFC forever, bro.
Fair. Any closing remarks?
No, bro. I'm excited. You can't, bro. Listen, put the hate aside and just be honest with me. Be honest with our viewers. You're excited to watch this fight. This fight's, listen, the big fights, I'm not afraid to say it. I get a little pit sweat. I get a little fucking antsy for these main events. You can't tell me you're not going to be excited when these
you're using that whacked out deodorant, dude. I tried to freaking get you off that stuff. It's affecting. You got the crazy pit sweats. That's why you're sitting like this. Yeah, I already said I'm excited. Like, I'm excited. Say? I was fucking, huh?
What'd you say? What deodorant?
I was just making I don't know.
I'm a native guy, a native deodorant guy.
I know you're a native guy.
Clean.
You know what I'm saying? Dude, yeah, like I was excited for Perates Magny. That's what I was watching Carlos Perates knock out Neil Magny this past Saturday in my basement by myself. That's the type of timing I'm on, pal. So yeah, I'm excited for this fight. You got me to admit it in front of all of our fans, but it's still like not ideal. And I think it sets a very weird, I don't know, the John Jones, he's been acting so strange. I need to make another video just talking about his most recent interview of him just saying, he's literally just saying like, oh yeah, Tom Aspinall hasn't achieved anything. Like, dude, like you could not be a more deserving like contender than Tom Aspinall right now. Like so again, assuming he's joking, but I never know with this guy. So yeah, that's all I got for you.
UFC 309 live from Madison Square Garden, the Big Apple, the place where John and Stipe and two great legendary careers. Hey, I'm looking forward to it.
Where you go?